Hi, everyone. Welcome back. And I'm so thrilled to welcome my client, Caty, to this interview. So, Caty has gone through the program and we're going to talk about how she got on. So, I have some questions, Caty, which she's kindly agreed to answer about her experience. But let's rewind a little bit, Caty. And can you give us and tell everyone a little bit of background as to what your life was like before we met? What kind of challenges were you dealing with on a daily basis?
Well, I mean, I lived in a world of being obsessed about sleep, to be honest, and that brought obviously a lot of anxiety, and I had a lot of worry about the future and how that was going to look, and it was looking to me more like an endurance process than something to look forward to. Um, I was reliant on sleeping tablets. I was waking every night. Whatever I did, I just woke up every night without fail and struggled to get back to sleep. I worried about my health um, in terms of lack of sleep, but also taking sleeping tablets. I got run down easily. I was constantly searching for an answer. Um, so all in all, it was just a pretty miserable. I got on with life, but it was always there in the background.
And
So not,
how many years would you say you suffered from insomnia?
it's 24 years, so a long time. What's sad is realizing that my youngest son, he'll be 22 in July, and I think, well, for the whole of my life, sorry, not my life, for the whole of his life, I've lived with this. Um, and I just want to, I want to change. I want a new experience.
Okay, so tell me about that. Tell me about the moment when you realized that you needed to do things differently.
Well, I, I am somebody that is constantly searching for answers. So I was on the internet all the time looking for things and trying different things and taking care of myself as far as I could in terms of exercise and eating well and discovering things like gluten didn't seem to agree with me, dairy didn't seem to agree with me. So I was making changes myself, but obviously I wasn't getting to the bottom of everything. And during that process, I did a lot of listening to and reading information from functional um, medicine practitioners. So I knew in my heart that was what I needed. I needed to find a functional medicine practitioner um, if I was really to get anywhere with this. Mainstream medicine just wasn't going to cut it for me. So I knew that was what I needed. That was the moment of change. But it's where do you start? I didn't know where to begin to find somebody.
Okay, so why did you choose the easy sleep method and working with me then?
Well, it was like a miracle, really, because you popped up on my Facebook feed one day, and I read obviously what you'd put, and to discover that you were not only a functional medicine practitioner but a sleep expert, I thought this has got to be it. I'm not going to find another Anne Marie. If this isn't a sign, I don't know what is. Um, so we obviously had a conversation, and I really liked. I really like you. I really like the fact that there's no sales pitch. It's just honesty, and you just sort of said it as it is. So I didn't feel any pressure from you or anything like that, or sign up today and we'll give you such and such a discount. There's none of that rubbish. It was just pure exchange of information. So obviously, I went away to think about it. and then came back with a yes.
Yeah, I'm so glad you did. And if you almost didn't join, what hesitations did you have?
Obviously, it's the cost. I mean, I had no idea how much this was all going to cost. But then when you realise that actually the cost involves a lot of testing, which is outside of your control, and you have to pay for the urine tests and the hair mineral tests and those sorts of things. So that was all wrapped up in it. And then when I had the conversation with my husband about it all, well, we basically concluded it was the price of a holiday. And for the sake of a holiday where, yes, you could go away for 2 weeks and probably feel a bit better, but you'd still come back, I'd still come home and I'd still have all the same problems hanging out over me. It was just a no-brainer in the end. And it was kind of like once I'd let that thought drop, it was almost to a point where I didn't care anymore. It's like, whatever, if this is going to fix me, you just can't put a price on health. So it's so worth the investment, and I'm so glad I didn't let that stop me. Because what's the point of the money sitting in the bank if it's, if your health is struggling and your mental health is struggling? So that was the only thing. And actually, Richard came home from work. We had the conversation. He said, "It's up to you. I'll support you." So it took me, from speaking to him, it took me about 20 minutes to make the decision. Yeah, job done.
Yes. Great. And so you came into the program and you've done brilliantly. So let's talk about results. And, we did run all the lab testing. We found your root causes. There were many things there, that we uncovered and that helped you get your sleep back. But how is life different now?
Well, I mean, a big factor for me was the anxiety. To be honest, it was at a level where it was just driving me mad, because it was kind of like it was a worry that any progress I was going to make was still going to be hindered by my anxiety, because it was such a big thing to let go of. And I just kept plugging away, really, I suppose, until suddenly something just clicked. I think it was the realization that I'd been spending a lot of time accepting the fear, accepting the anxiety, but I'd ignored the resistance to it. I hadn't accepted the resistance to it. And that was a massive turning point for me. I could just feel the anxiety just dropping away when I kind of had that thought. So sometimes I feel like the sleep anxiety is almost worse than the insomnia. So to actually lose that, I can't, it was worth everything just for that alone. But I never thought I'd be getting consistently good sleep again, not worrying about my health as I was, because the lack of sleep was definitely impacting me and making me feel run down. So obviously I feel much, much better in my health. No more sleeping tablets, so I don't have that worry anymore. And now the future to me is looking much, much brighter. And I'm not having to make decisions based on whether I think I might sleep or not. I'm just making decisions on whether I want to do things or not. So it's all new territory to me, and I'm just lapping it up.
You've done so well, and you've had a great attitude all through the program as well. How you've approached it and the commitment, even in doing it, it does take commitment. But what resources have you found most helpful, or would you credit with having helped you with your success? What resources within the program?
Well, I did like the HRV monitor, because I was following the breathing technique that I was directed to, and I still do that now, because I learned, I counted breaths in, holding for 2, breaths out, so I know how to do that myself now. But it was good to be able to monitor it on the HRV reading every day, so you could actually see that your nervous system was improving. So anything like that where you're actually seeing solid results is always a boost. So I liked that. I liked the sleep journal, because I am a writer. I write. I've got notes in notebooks all over the house from all the years of everything I've done. Which the reality is I probably one day just get it all together and throw them all in the bin. But on this program, having a sleep journal was really good, because it's far better to get what's in your head out onto paper. So that was really good, to journal. And also the yoga poses, the yoga sort of wind down stretching poses to do at night. That was really good as well, because that's in keeping with what I already do, because a lot of it was yin yoga based, or all of it might be. And that's the main yoga practice that I enjoy. So that was really good. And school is really good, because all the information you need is on school. If anything comes into your head, I want to know a bit more about blood sugar, then you can just look up blood sugar and you'll get all the information there at hand. But also the whole community thing of being part of a community where you're all going through the same thing, and supporting each other and picking up ideas from each other and that sort of thing, which is just something I've never had before, because insomnia is a very lonely existence. And if you're just reliant on going to see a doctor and having repeat prescriptions written for you, nobody's talking to you. Nobody, you've got no outlet to sort of talk about things to do with it. So that was really, really refreshing and really helpful. And I like the fact that you and Ema were always at the end of an email. So if there was anything troubling me or anything I wasn't sure about, I just had to quickly drop you an email, and then I got a response from you and your support throughout. Because I had my moments. I know I had my moments, and I probably made life a bit difficult for you at times. But you always came back with something so good that immediately made me feel better without me actually implementing anything that you said. So that was probably the biggest, to be honest, having that, just knowing somebody was there for me.
Wonderful. And so what advice would you give to others who are looking for help with their insomnia?
Well, I would literally say go for it. If you've got the money, or find the money. To me, you can't put a price on health, and to find out what is actually causing your insomnia in the first place that's half the battle already. If you know what's wrong, great. You can't argue with science. You'll get the results in your own personal testing, and then knowing that you know exactly how to correct that, and guiding us accordingly with what supplements we need to take or what things we need to implement, then I can't see that there's any other way, really. And as you work through and you start completing protocols, it's really satisfying. It's almost like you can tick that one off your list. And then you obviously carry on with another one, and then you can tick that one off your list. And as time goes on, you just things start to improve. So put the work in, eat what you've got to eat, take what you've got to take, do everything else on the side as well, all the other practices, walking in nature, yoga, breathing, dry skin brushing, all the other techniques, do all that. Because you'll get out what you put in. And you'll just never look back.
Yeah. And what would you say to someone who is skeptical about this? Obviously, I advertise it on the internet. I'm on Facebook or Instagram. That's how you found me. But a lot of people have tried a lot of things by the time they find me. So there is a lot of skepticism. What would you say to someone who's skeptical about this?
Well, when I had the conversation with my husband about it, we both agreed this was last chance saloon, really. It's like, yeah, do this. And if this doesn't work, well, you've tried, I've tried everything. So I think nobody should give up without doing this, because everybody I know that I've met on this course has been successful. And somebody like me, I think, was probably more of a complicated case. I don't know. But, I had a fair few things going on that needed to be put right. So it's almost like if it can work for me, it can work for anybody. And another way that I looked at it as well was if you follow Western medicine, and you go to see a doctor and you need some specialist treatment, and there's a waiting list of 18 months for an operation or something. If you've got the money, if you've got the money, then those people, I know most of those people and friends of mine, pay to just have it done privately within a month or whatever. So in my mind, this was the same as that. You pay to have private Western medicine carried out if necessary. So why wouldn't you do the same with this? And that, that's all I can say. Just, do it. You deserve it. You've probably worked all your life. You deserve to have this in your life because it will change your life forever. So surely you're worth the investment. And just be patient and work with it.
Okay. And anything else you would like to add to wrap up?
Yeah, just to finish on that message, really. You just need to remember, because I was guilty of it. You try and rush it, and you want sleep. You do it for a couple of months, and you want sleep to materialize again. But what you have to switch your focus to healing your body first, because you said very early on, sleep is the last thing to come. So as long as you set out on this journey with that in your mind and just keep going and focus on getting your body as healthy as possible, then sleep will follow. Don't try and look at it the other way around. Don't try and get your sleep, thinking you're going to get your sleep fixed straight away. And it's nice, the fact that you're going to be healthy as well. It's the other way around. So get your body healthy, get your body into balance, and then sleep will come naturally.
Brilliant. Thank you, Caty.
You're welcome.